Ladies and gentlemen, just 1 hour ago, Zenless dropped a dev face-to-face. Now, normally I have a little bit more monologue before I get into it, but this is a 34-minute video. There'll be enough yapping while we're watching it. Chances are I'm probably going to have to translate it for you guys, so let's go ahead and get into it. Audio looks good, I believe. ZZZ with the classic vibes, setting the mood immediately as soon as the video begins. Of course. Probably my favorite thing about him.
Hello. 大家好，我是绝区零的策划小歪，欢迎来到策划面对面节目。
All right, welcome to the Dev Face to Face. That's what he said.
谷歌是我们邀请来。
My friend is the first guest we've invited to be on the show. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
大家好，我是黑瞳谷歌。
Hello everyone, I'm
受到
his friend. I'm honored to be invited by the Zenless project team.
的策划面对面。
Let's turn their volume down just a little bit so we're not like competing for who's talking. To participate in the first episode, we aim to make this segment a window into our project to address various issues. We also look forward to receiving more feedback from everyone in the future. We'll use this segment as a way of maintaining communication with everyone. Since Y has already said this, and I've also heard that this show, essentially what they just said is this is how they are going to be incredibly transparent with, I guess, community feedback and complaints. Seems that both Wuthering Waves and Zenless Zone Zero have a team of people that are willing to address any complaints and scrutiny delivered to them by their community, which is actually truly admirable. It's all about being real, right? Yeah, certainly. Our main hope is to be able to use a more direct approach to expose problems and solve them. Given that, then we need to have a serious talk about some topics that players in the community are the most concerned about. Let's start by discussing the TV mode. Yeah. Let's go ahead and let's not, beat around the bush. Let's not waste any time here. Let's get straight into the meat and potatoes. Since the launch of ZZZ, there's been a lot of negative feedback from the community regarding gameplay mechanics of the TV mode. What are your thoughts on this situation? To be honest, we all think the TV mode had many issues at release. Dang, he agreed. Bro agreed. That's crazy. We have tried lots of different avenues in terms of gameplay. So looking at it now, it just didn't give players something that would satisfy everyone. As a result, we took the time to review a lot of negative feedback thoroughly and collect a large amount of survey data, and we even made some phone calls asking for the opinions of many players. During this process, we also tried to summarize the main issue with the current gameplay of the TV mode. The main issue with the TV mode is, again, as I've said before, I think it has a bit to do with disrupting the fluidity of consuming their way of storytelling. It's also a bit, ongoing. It's a little long. It's a little long-winded. Sometimes, you start to get a little numb in terms of what you're doing inside of there, and you're like, oh God, bro. And like I said, you go back into gameplay, and you're like, you have to re-lock in, so to speak. So I think that was the main issue for me. Let's briefly discuss this with my friend and everyone. The first issue is how long it takes. Yep, see, I called it on the money. The second issue is that the gameplay and combat mechanics are intertwined, and this interrupts the flow of the player's experience. Bro, did I not just call that before? Cooked with that one. And y'all know I just got done making a Wuthering Waves video venting. There was no way in hell this is pre-watched. The third issue arises during the early gameplay experience, where the proportion of TV mode gameplay might be a bit excessive. Yeah, that's true. And the last is quite specific. The animations in the TV mode can be a bit sluggish. I think you'd have to be a little bit more specific, because I actually thought the animations in the TV mode were quite crisp. If anything, you just couldn't get around fast enough, but it felt pretty polished in my opinion. Yes, even though there is that speed up feature. But you see, with the speed up feature, one problem is that it doesn't go fast enough. Another problem is that the speed up can sometimes even interrupt dialogue. That's right. Speeding up isn't the best solution in terms the base example. For example, also how much players' control is taken away. These issues are actually related to the points that players have given a lot of feedback on. So in cases like this, it must be tough for you to personally talk about so many problems in your game. That is, and you know what? I'll be honest, like it actually, if I put myself in them shoes, that is not easy. You are literally in a position where your job is to receive the most harsh feedback, especially me. I can be a dick with my feedback, but it's not coming from a place of malice. I'm genuinely complaining and I'm being as authentic as I can about shit that's just really annoying in the game. But I will admit, if I were a dev and I had to listen to all that feedback, you definitely need to have some thick skin. And I think that's just an incredible variable or element that humans need to have in their entirety, not just necessarily devs, but everyone. All right. Anyways, to personally talk about so many problems in your game, that's not exactly how I would put it. That is to say, if we don't face these problems on, they won't be truly resolved. So, are these issues already being addressed? Yes. Let's begin with the interruption between TV mode gameplay and combat mechanics and the proportion of TV gameplay being too high. Everyone can see that ass. That's what I can see. But hey, man, that's what I'm talking about. ZZT. You gotta hook me in. You know what I mean? You're gonna show some shit. Hook me in. You did the right choice right there, boy. Let me tell you something, boy. God damn it, boy. All right, my bad, chat. My bad. In version 1.1, we have already made adjustments to the main story, completely removing TV mode from the process. Oh, there won't be any more TV mode in the main story. They listen to me. Oh, brother. Oh my God. That's what's up. That's crazy. They said like, period. No more TV in the story. I was cooking. I told, boy, Gacha smack, man. Always right, cringe. The story can be completed within the combat stages, and players can control the agent to complete the entire storyline. Oh my God, bro, Jane Doe. In the upcoming version 1.2, in the Faith and Story chapters, we will continue to maintain this format to allow everyone to experience more complete combat stages. And I told you the reason without TV mode, I literally said this when I gave this game a review, and I told y'all the reason it is paramount to proceed in this methodical approach going forward is so the player can stay engaged with the story, because combat in and of itself already disconnects you from what's going on to the story. So if you throw combat in there and the TV system in there, now you're really disconnected from that story mode experience. It's like you can't have them both and expect somebody to be able to keep the attention span of what's happening. It's just too much of a disconnect. So from now on, the main story and future versions, as well as events in the upcoming updates, we will all be like this, designed without the TV mode. We think that the main storyline, in terms of total playtime, is what players are likely focusing on right now. We will take into account not to use TV mode as a means of presentation, and strive for as much consistency as possible to convey it through a stage-based approach. And that's what I said. I think a better methodical approach is to, like, in mid-combat and gameplay, as you're doing your thing, you have these little either like short cutscenes or little short dialogues, and then you get right back to the action, as opposed to the TV system. If everything is to be made into a stage-based format compared to the development effort for TV mode, it sounds like a lot of work. I can only say this is part of the job. Yeah, that's a smooth way of saying you goddamn right, it's a lot of work. Also, there were actually 2 points that we didn't get to elaborate on earlier. One is about some of the animations in the TV mode that feel a bit sluggish. This is something that we've been constantly prioritizing. We sped up and cut down some of the animations in the TV mode segments. We also retain the select speed up state. Previously, entering and exiting battles caused it to disable. It would switch back after completing. Each time it had to be manually readjusted. Yeah, that's true. You had to constantly go back to the speed up again. And we also reduced some close-up shots and made adjustments to some interactive experiences. We continue to work on this aspect. Regarding the previously mentioned issue of the process being too lengthy, it's similar to what we just discussed. As for the subsequent storyline experiences, we probably won't use the TV mode. Although many players find it quite special, the overall visual experience of the levels regarding fluidity and narrative experience might be better suited for this format. So they agree. I mean, they agree with me, bro. What can I say, chat? I got a vision. They can see the vision of Gacha Smack. So therefore, this previously mentioned issue of it taking too long won't be present in our game for the time being. So for the future, this doesn't mean that we will completely let go of this TV mode. Here's the thing. TV mode won't disappear. It will just be more fun. So here's the thing. if you, it's not that you absolutely have to remove it entirely, but you can't have it at the same length that it's been ongoing. As I've said before, I think the TV mode is an ingenious idea incorporated into Zenless Zone Zero. However, the disruptiveness of it in terms, as I said before, the fluidity of the story and consuming it, it is a real problem. And so if you're going to put it back in the mode going down the line, I can understand that you're playing with the proxy and he's telling you through this like technological system, he's a hacker. I can understand that. But if you're going to do it, you have to cut it down and make it way more seamless than it currently is, which he's obviously saying himself. We'll still iterate based on previous ideas that have garnered high praise from everyone. Yeah, makes sense. From my own experience playing the game, even though everyone refers to it as TV mode, this is actually how Phaethon works. It's literally what I just said, because he's a hacker. It's just sitting in front of the HDD looking at all those TV screens and guiding the agents to find a way out of the hollows. But see, I personally believe that if you're going to go with that concept of him being a hacker, there's more, you gotta have an increase in the budget size, but there's more like engaging ways to go about it as opposed to just that TV mode. If you see, and that's how it can become more of a beautiful thing. If you do like a little bit of TV mode plus a little bit of cutscene transition back and forth between Phaethon as you're simultaneously doing combat, right? You're doing combat, he pops up on the side screen in like a little black and white retro aesthetic TV, and he's talking to you about, hey, go left, go right, and it's almost like, how do I explain that? It's like a race, but it's very engaging. Oh man, I can't. That's actually kind of hard to put my vision and convey it to you guys. But essentially, it's almost like a mode inside of a mode. He's telling you where to go, left, right, and all of that. And it's happening in rapid fashion. Hopefully, you are picking up what I'm putting down. If not, I understand. Did a shit job at explaining it. To find a way out of the hollows, that's just the way they work. Another thing is that, in fact, it is true that this experience is somewhat strange for all players. But I believe there are still some stages where I think this TV mode gameplay is pretty fun. I don't disagree. So these changes won't eliminate this completely. It will just retain the enjoyable elements. Or will there be a similar enjoyable TV mode in the future? Yeah, even though there is some negative feedback from the community. However, we have also noticed some players who like this mode. Yes, there are people who like it. We definitely won't implement a one-size-fits-all. First of all, we'll face the previous issue head-on. Some issues in the design and implementation of the TV mode will be overhauled completely. Then we'll focus our efforts on further enhancing both the playability and the enjoyment of the gameplay. After all, whether the focus is on TV mode or combat, the important thing is to make it enjoyable. So these upcoming main storylines have all been switched to a no TV mode format, but this way it will be similar to the ones that have already been launched with TV mode. We'll have a noticeable difference. What will happen to already released content that features TV mode? There will definitely be adjustments in the early game. Then, although I want to talk about this experience, we aim to complete the change swiftly and deliver them to the players. However, we also need to develop content for upcoming versions. And we also need to ensure the quality of the content updates at the same time to avoid giving everyone a negative experience during the time between major updates. Furthermore, we also continue to improve the game. He's basically saying they got a lot juggling on their plate while trying to tackle this TV problem simultaneously. Additionally, continuing on, guys. Additionally, updating some fundamental parts, like you've seen from news about version 1.2, such as the new feature, Ferry Auto Explore. After completing a commission, regardless whether it's observation data or other collectibles like chests, hidden on secret paths, all of these will be able to be obtained directly. So now, when players experience these missions, they can fully focus on the narrative. If anything was missed later on, you can simply hand it over to the ferry. Yeah, we still hope the players experience the TV mode. It will be less of a burden for them. So I am curious, if you're just gonna hand me all of my rewards, then aren't I just gonna just straight up ignore all that shit and just collect it later? Versus, like, what's the point of putting it in there if I don't have to worry about collecting it because Fairy's just gonna hand me all the rewards? Unless I'm understanding that, misunderstanding that. I'm not complaining though. I don't really care about going around collecting rewards. You just give them to me. I'm all for that. I'm just trying to wrap my head around the logistics of it. Another thing I want to focus on is that we may consider redesigning and reproducing the previous main story and some other commissions. What? Future plans, redesign the early main story flow and some commissions. This would be massive for to not only entice new people to give Zenless Zone Zero a chance again, but also the people who had shitty experiences to come back and give it another shot. Damn, that's crazy. It's that Hoyo bread, bro. And some other commissions. Not just a simple case of optimization. It's redeveloping from scratch. Right. So, for example, for the flow of each commission and the flow of the storylines, we'll do what we can to redesign these. So we estimate we'll have this done by version 1.4. What the? That's real. What? Oh my God, that is insanely earlier than I thought he would have said. Redoing the entirety of the launch and having it done by 1.4 is a nasty work ethic. That's a nasty form of work ethic. Dear God. All of that redesigning and production sure sounds like a big undertaking. Are you sure it'll be okay? For us, we feel that if we don't do this, it'll be hard to show our commitment and determination. That's a hell of a resolve. True, this is something that the players are looking forward to. Something that they hope can be improved upon. ZZZ is a new IP, so we truly feel that each player is precious to us. We hope that by making these changes, step by step, we'll be able to earn more of our players' trust. That's actually something we want to express through this show. There's something we didn't finish talking about regarding TV mode and also Hollow Zero, which we'd like to share with everyone. In version 1.1, we launched a new gameplay mode called Inferno Reap. Simply put, this allows players to directly challenge the boss. So for version 1.2, we'll continue exploring in this direction and add a mode that'll allow players to jump right into combat to obtain Rezonia. It's the Blitz mode. So will this mode replace the previous reward from Hollow Zero? Yes, thank fucking God. This mode will be a bit more hardcore. And by completing the Blitz on Withering Garden, you can earn weekly investigation points. Hell yeah. And you can get them all in one go. Something that's in the works for maybe version 1.4. Also, we will further provide our players with a frequently discussed type of gameplay. New gameplay will be more focused on combat variety. Actually, fuck, I was trying to read two things at once. An action-like rogue mode. Actually, the most important thing for the TV mode, we will probably be a bit more orthodox in our approach. There will be stages that will be combat focused. We also are going to introduce some new changes to the mechanics. For example, character abilities may change for a playthrough, which will enrich the variety of our roguelike elements, changing character abilities. So characters will have new combat moves. What? For this roguelike gameplay mode, characters will have some changes to their moves. Fuck yeah, dude. That's what makes roguelike mode so compelling. You're so adapted to how the the current character's playstyle is in regular gameplay. But when you go to the roguelike mode, it unlocks this this godly like prowess of the character that you're never going to be able to play with in the regular mode. Basically, it's like taking them to E12. Right? You want to have that feeling. You also want to have this feeling that you can do all this cool stuff with them in this roguelike mode that will never happen in any other mode. That's what makes it so unique. In terms of our design, we hope that we can get this right. So if players feel like they aren't satisfied with part of the game, please feel free to let us know by email or in one of our surveys. And tell us your suggestions. We'll try our best to take on board everyone's advice and make improvements. So the player surveys and feedback from players online are things that you do actually look at. Right. We take it very seriously. So you've also seen some of the harsh negative criticism. Yep, we have. A lot of pressure, huh? It keeps us on our toes, yeah. I'll be honest, I'm very fair with my scrutiny. Now, don't get me wrong, I have no problem saying this is garbage, right? But if you keep up with any of the times that I will provide my feedback on these games, I'm genuinely and generally very, very fucking fair. You know, only the shields and the bots have problems with some of the scrutiny, you know? If players have a particularly negative reaction to something, will you respond to this feedback immediately? Or will you organize a show like this at the first opportunity to explain why there wasn't an immediate response? Wow. That's actually a really intense question to ask somebody and present it to the internet, because now the internet is going to hold you to the standard of whatever it is you say. I wonder if he's going to give a PR answer right here, or if he's going to just straight up be like, yeah, no, we try to go like, you try to go and tackle it head on and answer it as fast. I am going to guess that what he's going to say right here is, we will discuss it within our internal team and try to discern what feedback is actually meritable and what feedback is just gibberish. And then obviously, after giving it some thorough thought, we'll then provide that answer like later on. We have our own thought process about this. If we don't have a specific plan for how to optimize something, we don't want to make any false promises. So that's why we're talking about it now. We've collected enough feedback and we've got a plan in place on how to address these issues, and we've already made some progress. So that's why we decided to share this with everyone. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, a little bit of a PR answer there, but also kind of real too. He kept it a stack as well, which I can respect. It's all about keeping to your word. Yeah, because let me tell you something. 99% of the internet probably doesn't keep to their word, but if you don't keep to yours and you're a developer or a content creator, oh boy, you have now committed blasphemy. You're dead to them. That's the philosophy, right? Well, in terms of feedback, actually a player's feedback oftentimes isn't necessarily what they really want. Yeah, the big conundrum here, bro. Players not knowing what the fuck they actually want. Players not being able to understand that which they enjoy cannot be given to them in an infinite amount, because then they would no longer enjoy it. Players not understanding that sometimes restrictions add to the enjoyability of the game. In fact, not sometimes, they do. You can't just say you could spam this ultimate forever, and beyond to an infinity, Buzz Lightyear style, and think you're still going to enjoy the game. There's a reason why they have to put constrictions or restrictions, I'm making up words here, on these abilities so that you can enjoy the thought process and the strategizing around activating them. It's important. The player may not really know what they want, or the ideas and suggestions provided might not suit the game if they were actually implemented. This happens all the time, right? And this is why you have to like tell yourself as a developer who's actually capable of critical thought and good feedback, and who are just people that they just need to shut the fuck up and just let everybody else do the cooking. Not everybody can cook. You know what I'm saying? I can cook a banger ass omelet, but you cook that omelet and it's gonna look like who did it and why, and it's gonna smell like tuna. When it comes to varied and complex feedback that is mixed together, you have to consider how to solve these issues and differentiate them, right? Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's all about having the right attitude. We have to collect as much player feedback as possible, and we have to look at it from different players' perspectives, from the perspective of our creators, and also as a developer to analyze these issues. Not only that, you also have to keep the core identity and foundation of your game in mind as you are collecting this feedback. With every single bit of feedback you receive as a developer, from my standpoint, it should be taken into consideration with what you already had in mind with the identity of your game, right? This is what I had planned. This is the target audience I was going for. And this is what I feel is a good game. Now let's take a look at this feedback and see if it compromises the integrity, the foundation, and the identity of what we already cooked up as developers, as experienced and nuanced developers in this industry. Does this feedback line up with our core goals here? That's generally the way I view it. After our analysis is complete, we have to take the appropriate measures to solve them one by one. Only by doing this, we believe that this IP and this project can be long lasting and provide a sense of security to our players. We feel this approach is a healthy way to do things. And from this perspective, every player's feedback has its own value. Yeah, of course. The main thing is that it provides us with different opinions. And for us as developers, we analyze this feedback seriously as a way to give something back to our players. Only by doing this can we make a rational decision on what to do. Yeah, actually, I filled in player surveys before, but one thing that concerned me was whether my advice was representative of the whole player base or not, and whether it would actually be helpful. But by the look of things, just as you mentioned, you take the time to analyze player feedback and carefully research the data. So I think that if anyone has a suggestion or advice, just feel free to speak up. That way the game will get better, right? Well, listen, by everyone sharing their opinion, you're eventually, as the developer, you're going to receive this data and you're going to see a bulk of the majority sharing certain ideas, and then the minority sharing some ideas. And as a developer, you're obviously going to try and appease the majority. But if there's room to appease the minority while not compromising what the majority want, there should be some breathing room. But there truly is never ever a one size fits all situation, and somebody is ultimately going to end up displeased. Always, you can't please everybody. Let's leave it here for the TV mode. For me, there's actually a lot more that I want to find out about. For example, about combat during the design stage. What is your thought process for your design? And regarding the current combat visuals, how do you feel about them? Ooh, I'm interested to hear that question. We place our focus on the mechanics of the character, how they feel to play, and also the animations. We also focus on the interactions with enemies while attacking and defending, and the positive feedback during this process. So our main objective is to make the game accessible, but with a certain level of challenge. For those who like hardcore action games, actually, when it comes to this and putting things in practice, there are some issues. Since release, we've been collecting feedback on this issue, and we're discussing this internally. So for now, we can talk about the previously mentioned limited time battle rank, the repetitive combat, and the target lock-on mechanic during combat. These were the core issues. Okay, so let's talk about this. Regarding the battle rank feature, something that players often complain about is that the battle rank is not varied enough. Although there's the possibility to be evaluated based on number of agent defeats, okay, but overall it is still mainly based on completion duration. Of course, I understand that live service games require character building and difficult stages that need to be completed, but there's also another issue here. When players are leveling up their characters, the biggest obstacle they face is stamina limits, and that's the reason why players cannot defeat the stronger enemies in Shiyu defense. I gotta stop here, and I'm gonna full screen right here. I'm gonna keep it a stack with you. My respect for these guys went up immensely. They are straight up talking about the gacha practices that we all know exist in gacha games that are a pain in the fucking ass. They are literally talking about the heart of things we always like bring up, right? Oh, you couldn't beat Shiyu defense, not because it was too hard, but because you just don't have enough fucking resources to build your characters up to the adequate level to complete it. Oh, you could beat Spiral Abyss because your characters aren't properly developed, because again, resource scarcity. I've never seen developers address that. Usually just ignore the shit because they know what they're doing, right? These guys are like trying to have a chat about it. I think that's so respectable. The stages that feature with high HP cannot be completed within the time limit. Is there any plans to fix this kind of issue? What are your thoughts? Actually, we're aware. We do feel that the standards for evaluation are not varied enough. One aspect of this is that players encounter these type of situations. Another aspect is the core issue that it impacts fun. So for this issue, for the new Shiyu defense in version 1.1, we've tried to add the number of defeats as a new means of evaluation. This way the players are given more freedom in attaining. It went by too fast. This way the players are given more freedom in attaining battle ranks. And in the future, apart from time limits and number of defeat limits, there will be more battle rank criteria added. This is actually quite interesting. It seems like they're going to expand the, I guess, the versatility of their in-game mode. And it's not just going to be time limit oriented, but defeat oriented, and also the other ideas that they're going to be cooking up. In fact, if they were to do that, it would be similar to Honkai Star Rail expanding upon their Memory of Chaos and turning it into pure fiction as well as Apocalyptic Shadow. Again, I think any like the devs going down the HSR route is always going to be the greatest way to go about it, because that shit has given value to all of their characters, all of their paths. And if you do the same thing in ZZZ, well, then it makes sense for people to invest, and that's going to bring you more money and the longevity of the thing.
还有个话题就是跟养成相关的，那这部分的话
Which involves to wait, I'm sorry, let me go back one more time, guys. In number of defeats, there will be more battle rank criteria added. There's another issue related to character building, which involves to quite a lot of underlying systems that require adjusting. Currently, we plan to address these one step at a time, optimizing each issue one after another. There are a few different aspects. The first is that we will provide stamina to the players. For example, in the coffee shop, there will always be a coffee available that provides 80 stamina points. Yeah, I'll be honest, this shit is great. Like, wait, they're boosting it to 80 now, so it's no longer 60. So now they're giving you an additional 80 stamina, which is more. By the way, ZZ gives the most stamina out of all the Hoyo games, and on the mainstream Gacha games too. You get 240, right, which is what HSR gives, but you also are able to replenish an extra 60 on top of that every single day. There's not like a time gate to it. Now they're increasing that 60 to 80, so now you get an extra 80 on top of 240, bringing it to a total of 320 stamina per day. Additionally, permanently available coffee will no longer cost Denny's. Thank God, because Denny's gets it, dude. Shell credit in Wuthering Waves is horrendous, but so are the Denny's and ZZZ.
并且常州咖啡不再会花费定义。第二点呢，
The second point
就是也是跟定义
is also
相关的
related to Denny's.
之前分解引擎
Previously, dismantling W engines consumed Denny's. Remember, I told y'all I was bitching about this in Wuthering Waves and ZZZ. I tweeted about this. I said this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Not only that, but also like refining your weapons. It costs Denny's. Why are you charging me money to refine my weapon because I got another copy of it? It just don't make no sense. They don't do that in Honkai Star Rail.
嘛，那这一点我们会在一点版本。
But in version 1.2, we'll change this. Also, if the player previously spent Denny's on dismantling W engines,
会全数
they'll be refunded. Hey, cook it up, then. That's what I'm talking about. Give me my money back, bro. Hey, give me my money back.
然后第三点
For the third point,
啊，其实一
we've mentioned this in the version 1.2 special program.
会增加一个储备
We'll
电
add up a backup battery charge system. Okay, so they just ignored my other thing. They still gonna charge us for refining weapons. That's so gay.
的话都会存到这个储
We'll be storing the backup battery charge, so players will have an easier time
玩家都会更快
when it comes to stamina and Denny's. Yeah, well, we think players will have more freedom and not be so restricted. For the fourth point, we'll increase the amount of material drops.
材料掉落，就说我们会有更
This means that we will be providing double drop events
本的一些双倍
for
材料
dailies at a higher frequency. I swear, I don't know what it is with these gacha devs. They are so terrified of just increasing it as a flat amount because they understand that a flat amount is going to give you way more resources over the cost. I mean, over the, X amount of time as opposed to the double drop events. So they'll never like outright increase the flat amount. They're just gonna say, we're gonna put more double drop events in there. Wuthering Wave said the same thing.
然后第五点
The fifth point is related to materials from weeklies. We'll be reducing the time required to refresh chances of claiming them.
就不
So
会
it won't be like before where you can only claim 3 times a week.
对的
Correct.
一周3次，就是这个基础之外
Aside from this,
会增
we'll
加
also be adding a way for players to get materials by using stamina. Yeah, bro, because let me tell you something. Right now, this is dog shit. This is one of the biggest fucking problems with ZZZ right now. You spend a whole 10 minutes fighting this fucker at level 65 just to get one material. This material, by the way, is used for your talents, for your, like, I guess the traces of Zenless Zone Zero. And you only get one, no matter how much this level increases. There's no increase in this material acquisition here. So this is a massive problem in ZZZ right now.
模式吧。然后第六点就是
For the sixth point, we have added more ways to obtain materials.
奖励，就是
More specifically at Scott Outpost. Oh, by the way, in case you guys didn't catch that last, he's basically saying they're going to allow you to now utilize stamina to gain more of that resource I was just telling you. So they're not increasing it. It's still going to be 1, but now you can use stamina to get more of it. It's definite, but here's the thing. The problem is the scarcity of it. So at least you can use stamina as an option to get it. What I've come to find out is ZZZ gives a shit ton of stamina in their game. I got like fucking 50 of those stamina replenishes for free.
少战的后勤商店当中啊，也可以兑换。
You can swap ordinary upgrade materials in exchange for core skill upgrade materials. Of course, there's no need to worry. Oh, whoa. That's crazy. All right, there you go. Problem solved. Another way, another means of acquiring these resources that were previously scarce.
说 是想让就是玩家有更
It's mainly about giving players more choices and not about slowing down players' speed and obtaining
理
materials.
解就是
So basically, character building will be smoother. Absolutely.
就这些改
Of course, when it comes to these changes, we believe they aren't quite enough. These changes won't stop here. There'll be more to come.
还有什么？还有
Beauty of a live service game. You got unlimited time to add more changes, and it's up to your, convenience.
一些什么改动？
What other changes will there be? We will continue to focus on the player's experience
体验和反馈情况。
and their feedback, and based on this, continue to make optimizations.
那个
Just now, we mentioned repetitiveness of combat experience. Currently, the variety of enemies we can face is a bit lacking.
这个确实可以分成两。
Issue can be split into two parts. Firstly, building on our current foundation, we'll continue to make additions,
精英或者
such as more elite enemies or bosses. That's the first point.
第二点是说
Second point is relates to gameplay. In terms of specific adjustments for enemies such as enemy AI and moves, we'll continue to strengthen these aspects. Oh yeah, so another big point of contention for Zenless Zone Zero and a lot of complaints that stemmed from the community were that the AI in this game were just absolutely fucking brain dead, or they just barely moved. They were just basically like, what do you call it? Pinatas, so to speak. And they're now addressing this issue head on right now and saying they're working on improving that experience so that it doesn't feel, so that ZZZ can, I guess, escape the meme of it being an easy brain dead game.
提到这个零和空洞的这个新的 ACT
The new action roguelike gameplay will feature
中的话，就可能
some new
现在有的怪物的
experiences related to enemies
重新的调整。
that we have redesigned.
动是这个。
So,
就
about
像
Hollow
经常
Zero.
玩的话，就是大部分时间都会
I spend most of my time playing Hollow Zero. I sure as shit don't. I spend most of my time avoiding Hollow Zero.
我感兴趣。
I'm quite interested in this aspect. Can you give us a little more
不要离这方面再给我们多展
information about this?
啊，可以啊。
Sure. Besides what was just mentioned,
那个闪
that is, besides Withering Guard and Blitz, by version 1.4, we'll also introduce a new feature for Hollow Zero. Ooh, it's a new mode.
新的模式吧。那除了
So besides what was just mentioned regarding characters,
角色增加一些战斗，
we'll be adding some combat features.
那其实它
Actually, the overall system, like the related systems,
它的这些
and the whole flow of the gameplay, and even some narrative elements may also be included.
就是这块
So,
疫情谷歌，
and all of our players, please rest
我
assured,
们始终在这
we'll always maintain a high level of creative enthusiasm about this and continue to provide you with a richer experience.
就是其实还有
Speaking of which, I've actually got another question regarding combat. Back in version 1.1, I often experienced an issue when I locked onto a specific enemy
敌人的时候，然后把他已经
and he had already stunned them just as I was about to unleash a powerful attack on them. My target suddenly switched to another enemy.
这个应该就
This
是
should be an issue with the target lock system, right? See, I never used the target lock system, so I never have ran into this problem. I just don't play with it.
奇吧？
其实这算是同类的，就是高
It's actually a classic problem in fast-paced action games. It is. You're right.
说的话，主机端和 PC 端
On console and PC, you can lock on by pressing R3 or the middle mouse button
进行手动
manually.
1.2版
In
本
version 1.2, the logic of the lock-on function,
敌
including manual lock-on, has been optimized.
话，一旦手动锁定敌人，发动
Once you manually lock onto an enemy when performing perfect assist or a chain attack, the camera will still focus on the locked enemy.
锁定的敌人为中心。另外呢，就是我
We've
们
also made other adjustments,
就是各种情况下
such as the weighting and partners for locking onto targets. And pathing, I'm sorry. For example, when manually locking onto an enemy and switching characters, we focused on locking on to stunned enemies. Additionally, we addressed the weighting for destructible objects, such as boxes.
经常战斗的时候打着打着
That players are suddenly turned and attack nearby boxes. Yeah, that shit is really annoying. But I guess what he's saying is weighting. What he means by that, like adjusting the weighting, is a form of prioritizing whether you're gonna attack the box or attack a stunned enemy. And I guess he's saying he's adjusting that.
这个改动就很
The adjustment is quite good.
的确实
Logging onto targets is indeed a design challenge for the whole industry. Yeah, it is. It's a trick. And it's one that you notice I don't really scrutinize much because I understand it's definitely a pain in the ass.
难题的设计啊。
你这么
After hearing you say that, I'm not sure how to respond.
太感谢话，
这个怎么说呢
How come?
因为前面也说过，
As mentioned earlier, we're also uncertain whether these changes will fully meet everyone's expectations. That's the thing, man. It's like, dude, addressing lock on and making changes. I've said this before too. When I read patch notes in Wuthering Waves or any of these games and I see we've done this to lock on, I always say, yeah, I don't know if that actually is going to fix the problem, but I guess we'll see what happens. And typically it just doesn't fix the fucking problem because lock on, it's a pain. It just think about it. There's the structure of it and how it's designed to function. it's always going to be buggy because people are flying and darting around the screen and stuff. You're dodging, doing stuff. It's like, of course, I don't even know the correct terminology to refer to what lock on is doing in a engineering sense, you know? So I don't even know the term, but whatever it is, there's no way you can perfect that with all that's going on. It's just too much shit. For the modifications we previously discussed, we still maintain a mindset of continuous change, constantly absorbing and taking on board player feedback. Not to mention, sorry, I want to talk on that a little bit more. Not to mention, you got several different enemies reacting and performing movements at different intervals while you're trying to decide which one to attack, and then you now just changed your mind and now you want to attack the one behind you. The lock-on system is supposed to function perfectly and switch all in a seamless manner perfectly. It's just no way. It's no way it's going to happen, no matter what they do. 1.1 received a lot of feedback and made rapid adjustments within a short time. However, for some adjustments, there just wasn't enough time. Well, isn't it okay to just slow things down? There's no need to rush everything. Well, we think some things can be gradually developed over time, while others represent significant pain points for players. That's true, but like I said, you have a live service game, and the most powerful thing for a live service game for the devs is you always have more time to eventually put the changes in. So if it is within the realm of possibility for us, we try to make the adjustments as quickly as possible. Primarily reflects our attitude. We're trying to adjust the difficulties players currently face. I tell you this, if you make any changes at all, your communities will overhype the shit out of the change. So like, as long as you're making small changes every single update, they're going to look at you like you're doing God's work at its highest capacity. So like, just make changes, like small changes, to buy time to make the changes you've been trying to make. Well, if that's the case, are there any other changes related to combat? Actually, there are some additional optimizations. For example, for mobile devices in version 1.2, we have added a switch back function, which allows players to switch back to the previous character during combat. Then in version 1.4, there's a substantial change coming that has sparked considerable discussion, which is that ultimates will shift from being shared by the entire team to being only applicable. Wait, to being only applicable to individual agents? I'll be honest with you, man. I think that change is absolutely fucking necessary. It doesn't feel good that I'm never able to use my other two characters' ultimates because I know the most important ultimate on the team is the fucking person doing the most damage. I like some of the other ultimates. I want to use some of the other ultimates, but you're making me have to choose between your three characters. It just doesn't feel good. I had no fucking idea there were this must be like, correct me if I'm wrong, YouTube. This must be the first time they're actually announcing this in this dev interview, dude, that's a galactic change. That should be considered a significant change, right? Yeah, simply put, when a character's ultimate bar is full, each character can use their ultimate individually. Of course, we can't disclose specific details right now, but we can share more once everything is finalized. That is wild, bro. ZZZ is evolving, chat. What the fuck? By the way, chat, I know y'all are probably like, Smack, why didn't you live stream this? It's 2 a.m. And I was like, I'm not going live at fucking 1:30 a.m. Like, we've been recording for 43 minutes. I wasn't about to go live at no goddamn 1:15 a.m., man. Just thinking about it now, this probably increases the difficulty and strategy of combat quite significantly. That's a good thing. With difficulty and strategy being increased, that means now we have more to look forward to, more of a motivating factor to play your game, master it. Nobody can now say it's brain dead. There's more thought process put into it. It's a overall fucking W to increase the complexity of combat. Only a moron whose feedback isn't worth considering is the person that's gonna like refute this. And you should just ignore them, okay? You should just ignore them, trust. We go back to that point of topic of discussion y'all said earlier. Not every bit of feedback is good feedback. Some of these players don't know what the fuck they want.
额位的增加啊，这个
That's a pretty
这应该算是
significant
一个
plan
很大的变动
change.
计划了，就是如果要是有
I could chat listen YouTube. I am a fucking combat specialist. I played them all, bro. Every fucking game out there that had god tier combat, I've played it.
测试的话，请
When testing begins, please be sure to let me try it as well.
务必。
那这些改动
These
真的就是
changes truly
这个
reflect
就很
many
多都是在这个
modifications
核
to
心
the
的
core
玩法
gameplay.
上的这种改动啊。所以
No,
说
no, no,
就
no,
是
no. This dev interview, it has blown me away already. It's blown me away equally as much as the Weather and Waves dev interview. I ain't gonna even cap. Like these two companies, both of them are fucking cooking with their development teams. And I couldn't be more proud for them, honestly. Good for them, man. They're like they're working harder and they're doing more than all the other developers. I ain't gonna lie, Honkai Star Rail be cooking too. but I still put these two even in front of Honkai Star Rail and Genshin and other developers because like they're doing everything as well while being more transparent, while addressing things the other company like they really are. They basically they have to take the extra step and they have to do the extra work just to try and keep up with these other companies that are already cooking. Or not companies, other games. Sorry. Obviously, this is the same company, Hoyoverse.
之前
Although Zenless Zone Zero
就是
has many
后续
areas that
需要
need
改进
improving,
但是这个还有一个
I
方
still
面就是
feel the
在它的
gameplay
这个
experience in the
主城
city
的玩法体验上面，我还觉得还
is
挺好的
great.
就是很有那种
It's as if
生活
you're
沉浸
immersed
感
in the daily life of the
就是
city. The
还有就是
NPCs
像
in
我对这
ZZZ
个绝区林里面那个
have
NPC
left quite a
这些
deep impression
的
on
印
me.
象也都很深刻啊。你比如说
For example,
这个
Shepard
这个
and many
还有
other
就是其他很多
NPC
路过的
passersby,
NPC 他们的穿着服装也好
their clothing and design show that a lot of work has been put into them.
但是还有一个
However, there are some that I'd like to nitpick about.
比如说就是
There are many
很多地方
shops that you can't
不能
enter,
进就是它只
even
它
though
有
they
很
have
漂亮的
beautifully
店然后
designed
看得很
staff
美
and
感
look
觉就是
intriguing.
很有意思。如果放在生活中
If
的
it
话
were in
你
real life, I would
一定会
definitely
进去
go
看一
in
眼
to
但是
take a look,
就
but
是
our characters
角
can't
色也没有办法进到
access
这些城镇
some
的
of
这
these shops in
些
the city. And this was another thing that I criticized in my review. I said that it was a beautiful city and it was very it was very like abstract, I guess, so to speak. And despite the attention to detail and the like immersiveness, there weren't a lot of places to visit. I think I remember bringing up like I wanted to go to Nicole's house just to hang out, or I wanted to go skate around the block. There's just a lot of places that you just can't go to in ZZZ, and that takes away from the benefit of having a city and an instance-based game.
店铺当中，我看1.2
Live stream that will be able to freely switch between Wise and Bale,
的自由切换，然后但是
and also the new agents,
还这个新增的这个凯撒和
Caesar and Burnus.
就还有
There are
其
also
他的
other
角色
agents.
为什么就还没有
But
加
why
入
haven't they been included yet?
其实刚刚
As you mentioned earlier.
绝区林它其实是一个非常
God damn it, Bobby. Value and okay, let's get to lock in, Jay. Value, immersion, and sense of everyday life. Let's go back.
没有加进来的。
其实
As you mentioned earlier, Zenless Zone Zero values immersion and a sense of everyday life, which is indeed one of the core aspects we care about the most.
之一吧。我们还是希望带来
Therefore, we hope that agents' movements and interactions in the city are as natural as possible,
因此
thus redesigning
都重新
the
设计
movement animations for each agent while they are in the city is a very time-consuming endeavor.
这方面
This is
确实
something
是
I,
像我
as
作
a
为玩家
player,
自己
hadn't
想不
really
到会有的那种
considered before.
工作
Yeah, this is where I'm just gonna say the cold hard truth. We don't have to fucking consider that. It's not our job to consider that. That's just y'all's job to get that done. With all due respect, I don't say that to be disrespectful. We don't need to fucking consider how time consuming it is for you to allow us to run around with the characters that you put premium cost on. Get it done. Period.
会有这样的难度。那这个工作
How
量
much
会有
effort
多
does
大
it
呢
take?
其实
Actually, it's manageable,
但是也有一
but
些
there are some technical challenges that we need to tackle. I do not care, guys. I'll be honest with you. Yeah. that same effort that you had to do, it's already been done in Hawkeye Star Rail and in Genshin Impact and in Wuthering Waves.
那能不能跟我们举个例子讲一
Could you
下
give us an example?
比如说本太大了，它进
Ben's model's enormous, so he can't enter the video store. I will say it is hilarious listening to this, like just listening to the problems behind the scenes. I do find that interesting, but I won't obviously I won't pass this off as like, oh, that's why you guys get a pass now because of this. No, you don't.
对， 这个算是什么问题吗？
这个问题
Is that a problem? This issue is quite
可能
serious.
体型
The character's size exceeds certain specifications, which makes movement in narrow areas or spaces less than ideal. That is actually an interesting insight into the development side of things. Like explaining the why behind them not having it in there and now knowing that why, that is actually pretty interesting.
特别理想，然后甚至说有些
In some areas,
压根就没有办法
he might not be able to pass through at all. This nigga Ben is suffering from success.
其实是
It is indeed an issue.
我觉得在城
I
市
think in
里
the
面做角
city,
色
when
动作
designing
这件事
character
情
animations,
为什么不能
why can't you
直
just
接套用
reuse
战斗的时候的角色的动作
the animations
这
from
样的话
combat?
工作量会
That
小
will
一些
reduce the workload, right?
当然我也只是
Of course, I'm just a player and I don't fully understand. Are there other technical issues involved?
随口问一下
I guess that makes sense why there's always the exact same character model in like Genshin Impact with a lot of different characters. It's because they are avoiding dealing with this problem.
这个主要还是我们
Main reason is that we hope to provide different experiences in the city and during combat stages, as the expectations for pacing are quite different. As the expectations of pacing are quite different, that's the most important point.
希望
We still hope to give players 2 complete sets of animations to experience,
就是
and we feel that
会觉得在主城当中就是和角色
character interactions in the city are a crucial part of the gameplay experience.
而且想想也
Indeed,
确实
considering
像
that
这
during
个
combat,
角色战斗的时候有战斗的状态
a sense of battle should be reflected, while daily life should be reflected through the corresponding animations. That makes sense.
那那个关于
What about players'
这个
concerns
这个主城光影广场这个比较
about
空的
Lumina
情况
Square
下
being a bit
怎么办
empty?
我就感觉是
It feels like we have a very beautiful city,
但是没有
but there isn't any new
加入
gameplay for this.
这个问题是这样，就是
Since Lumina Square is an area that already exists in the game world,
我们肯定会
we are sure to continue
拓展在这上面
expanding its functions,
大家已经看到了
such as the hot pot restaurant and gardening shop that you have already seen.
另外一个就是
Besides, we'll also expand players' daily life choices based on those functional locations. So far, the daily life part is still a bit lacking. I feel like it's a bit too simple.
然后这个
But with more functional areas being added to the city,
会有所变化。
things will change. I told you, man, what you guys need to do is give people a skateboard and a bike to just like roam around the outer parts of your city. Be able to go into the like, give each character a freaking house. And just give them a little pad. You know what I mean? Get it done, man. Step up. Step up, guys. Get it done. I want to see it. I want to cuddle with Jane Doe. All right. All right, my bad.
那还有一点就是我们也是
We also want to
希望
optimize the
区
transition
和关卡之间的
between the
一些
city and stages.
衔接，就是
Actually, in some of these
现在其实
stages,
在关卡当中也用到
there are
了
features related, such as the mission system and some interactions, things like that. You'll notice I hate saying fucking features. Features. I'm so lazy with my pronunciations in a lot of words.
快的
I think it's because I'm Southern.
关卡内这一块的体验也会
Stage experience will also be
还是
enhanced.
挺值得期
Sounds
待
like
的
something worth waiting for.
我觉得
But in my
这个
gaming
是
experience,
这个变得更大，然后 NPC
a bigger city and more
更多
NPCs
以我玩游戏的经验，其实这也并不
doesn't
意味着
necessarily mean the
就是
in-game world feels more alive. Yeah, it's not like you need more NPCs. That's so true. It's not like you need more NPCs in a bigger world. You just need more activities to do inside of the, the world.
像我玩的话，毕竟玩这个
Since
这
ZZZ
个游戏还是以
is centered around the agents, after all, I wish I could
就是
play as the
操作代理人
agents
也好，或者和代理人
or
一
hang
起
out with them. See, he's picking up what I've been putting down. I told you.
出去约会啊，像这种
Like going around the city with
一起
them.
逛街，我觉得这应该
I think
还
that's
是这个
actually
玩家向
what the
往
players
的
want to see. No, listen, what I want to see is just put Jet Set Radio inside of ZZZ and your game will be the #1 gacha game. I guarantee it. And just allow every single character that you release to have a different style as they skate around the city and spray up walls. And your game will be the #1 gacha game. No doubt about it.
其实谷歌老师
You're right.
对就是
Enhancing the interaction with agents is also
在我们的计划
part of our plan.
我们打算在一点
We're planning to add an agent accompany mode in version 1.4. And what's the difference
跟之前的
between
那个它有一个角色
this and the trust invites in which you can invite the characters out 3 times per day?
可以说
I would say the accompany mode can be seen as part of invitees. What did it say? We're still
具
tweaking
体的方案我们还在
the specific details.
调整当中。
But generally
然后大概的做法
speaking,
是玩
it
家
will allow
可以带自己
players
喜欢的角色在主
to hang out and interact with their favorite characters in the city. In this mode, the character invited will follow the players the whole time. Oh, so they'll follow us, so it's different from the trust invites. Yeah, trust invites is about inviting them out, but in the accompany mode, the character will follow the player wherever they go. That's not something as simple as playing as a character. I mean, if they're just following me wherever I go, it's not, I don't really give a fuck about that, I'll be honest. Like, kind of like just like want to do an activity with them. Like I said, bro, I mean, Jet Set Radio is engraved in my fucking brain right now, but there's more things you could do with them. Maybe cook together. You know, that's what they did in Fire Emblem. If you start cooking together with characters and they just have, you know, they shoot the shit or whatever, there's a number of activities. Tea time, I don't know. I can think of a lot of things that a lot of your fan base would enjoy. Like me, I'll be honest, I don't give a fuck about no tea time or even cooking together, but I'm just trying to speak on behalf of what the community I know would probably appreciate doing with the idols that they usually end up developing some kind of connection with. To the interactive elements based on that, we'd like to ask for your patience. Once we implement this function in version 1.4, we might further enhance it. So the update plan for the main city needs to align with agent invites. Does this mean the city update is still pending because it needs to coordinate with future updates? Yep, that's our plan. Are there any other things you would like to share? There are 3 more aspects I'd like to share. Apart from what has been mentioned in the version 1.2 special programs such as optimizations in the time system, the first thing is model improvements. What? The second issue that's often brought up is the large installation size of the client. Yeah, it does. A lot of people be bro, so many people complain about it. And the last one is about cloud gaming. I've been going on for a while now, so I'll get through this quick. My man is self-aware, bro, of the yapping. Fucking based. Respect. Regarding character models like the model for Hoshimi Miyabi, we've seen the complaints and are trying our best to make modifications. We can't say that we'll be able to fix it all in one go, but we'll pay close attention to your feedback and continue to make improvements. Yeah, I know it must be difficult to make modifications, but it still needs to be done. Speaking of which, the visual appearance of character models are a matter of personal taste. Everyone has their own taste. So how can you redesign something that works for everyone? It sounds quite hard. Nah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Tastes are subjective, but there are certain things about a model that simply can be improved, like the coloration of the model, the hue and saturation. Maybe it's not as, you know, refined as it could be. The attention to detail of the clothes. I think there's a lot. There's a lot that can objectively be improved upon with character models, for sure. Or the way they move. It's still possible to make something that is appreciated by the majority of our players. Yeah, and even that's a good point. Even sometimes just changing up things just to freshen up the visual, you know, eye candy, I guess, of the consumer. Sometimes you just make changes just so people can be like, oh, wow, that feels nice. That feels new. Even though it's not, it's just, again, humans are incredibly spectacular at adaptation, and we eventually move the fuck on from all things and get over them. So it's always important to freshen up. We think that respect for our players, go back. We think that respect for our players is the most important thing. It's not just about the outcome, but also the process. I totally agree. As long as we can make the players feel that ZZZ today is better than it was yesterday, that's the best motivation for us. WDev. We will keep getting better. During our talk today, I can feel your sincerity and your determination. And in terms of the game client, we are also trying to improve this experience. Since there are a lot of environments and video resources included in the game, we're looking to implement a function that will allow players to manage their game resources. We're also working on solutions that will optimize resource compression. As for the last topic, cloud gaming, let me give you a small spoiler. ZZZ's cloud game has improved performance. We're confident to say we can provide an excellent cloud gaming experience. Please give it a try. All right, that's all for me. Time for my friend's critique. Critique? Nah, I'll pass on that. I understand that optimization takes time, and I'm sure everyone else does too. As long as the issue gets fixed and the optimization gets implemented, for a player like me, I'm fine with waiting. Bro is awesome. I like this guy. From what has been shared today, I believe these aren't just empty promises, and I'm feeling reassured. Same. Absolutely. I detected no hints of bullshit from this guy. Today's talk was all about specific plans
是有1.2的
that will be implemented in optimizations
就会上
for
线
version 1.2 and 1.3, as well as some longer term plans.
而且我们虽然一直在改
Although we're working on them, we're not doing so blindly.
觉得就是
We think that only when we consider the creators and our players' feedback on their gaming experience
真正意义
can we actually
是做好的方法
make the game better. New feedback and requests will keep popping up, and based on them, we'll continue to optimize and create new content. It's not something that can be done overnight, of course.
我们也衷心
So we sincerely ask you to be patient. Give us more trust and time. Yep.
那么我们
All right,
今天
we'll wrap it.
等一下
Oh, hang on. I have one last question.
啊，就是
Some people
大家
said
之前
you were
评价小薇老师说
always reading from the teleprompter in previous programs. Bro, I love this honesty, man. They're just asking questions devs normally wouldn't even bring up. This is so fucking cool.
我
I know you're
知道
nervous.
小薇老师很紧张，但是能跟我们
Why?
讲
But could
讲
you
吗
share a bit about why you gave everyone that impression that you are always reading from the teleprompter?
看题其实
Well, about the teleprompter, actually, the version 1.0 and 1.1 special programs were my first and second live streams ever. So I got super nervous. That's so fucking cool, man. And dude, the internet swore to God. They swore to their belief, their belief system, their God, that he was reading from a teleprompter. This was so fucking cringe about the internet too. Like, you don't know what the hell is going on. Shut the fuck up. Stop making an ass out of you and me and assuming. Ask you me spells assume, by the way. But that's so cool that they're talking about that. Dude, so much respect.
我甚至都紧张到有
I
点
love the vulnerability.
然后有点过度
I got super nervous. I was so nervous that my mind almost went blank. Oh my God, dude. I hate when that shit happens. I feel that, dude. Man, I had to talk at a funeral one time at a friend's one of my best friends. His dad passed away. God bless his soul. One of the most fucking incredible human beings. Anyways, I had to get up and talk, on the stand at the funeral about his dad. Bro, literally what he just said, it hit me like a fucking sack of bricks, bro. It's just like a wave of anxiety and nervousness immediately because all eyes were on me and I had to make sure I said something that was going to touch the hearts of the family members. You know what I mean? I didn't have time to be nervous, but my mind went blank and then I was just like, get a fucking grip, Jay. It's not the time to be nervous, bro. It's time to stand on it. Say something meaningful. Recall the impactful experiences that occurred and make sure these people understand that this guy was one hell of a human being as he was on this earth. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to yap.
然后
I'm also trying my best to adjust to
在
this.
调整当中吧，也是跟着我们版本
I will optimize myself. LOL. The little note here, bro. That's fucking hilarious. They've been dropping these subtle little notes to like keep you updated with what they're talking about. It's just I will optimize myself. Oh my God, dude, I'll be honest, man. ZZZ and the Wuthered Waves devs both are like, they fucking cook, bro. You gotta admit it. I hate that the fandoms are so cringe, but they both deserve love. They both cook with transparency, honesty, and they kind of wear their hearts on their sleeves, and they definitely come to these interviews with a good level of vulnerability that's admirable.
一直变好。
这次就感觉
It feels like you are more at ease this time than you were in previous live streams. Am I? And that would be thanks to you. You are the one making him feel a lot more comfortable. That's fucking good on you, buddy. It's obviously that you have charisma. It takes two to tango. You know, if it was some bullshit ass dude in that chair with a stale ass personality, he'd probably still feel nervous. So good on you, man.
那
Yeah, it's actually not a big deal.
也不是什么大事，大家每次
Players have really enjoyed
这个前瞻，而且还都是
your
很
special
有感受的，但
programs.
是我有一
But
点
there's one thing I have to say. The version 1.1 live stream
内容也
was too short.
太了吧
关于1.0 和
For the 1.0, 1.1 live streams, we were thinking about trying something new.
新的尝试
I didn't think there was anything wrong with it.
是吧？就是我们希望能够以更
Wanted to present the various update info
把版本
in a more efficient and effective way. Listen, hey, bro don't know what he talking about over there. Y'all are cooking up just fine with these damn live streams.
但是
But if that caused misunderstandings,
可能是做这件事情
then we may have missed the mark.
就觉得
And it seemed like you were eager to get off work.
对，就绝对没有这样的想
It's
法。
definitely not the
但是
case.
后面的直播的话
So the future live streams won't be that short.
那
Ah, shit, bro. This bro just gave them the admission to Yap. Why didn't you include
像
this
这期
program
的节目的内容为什么就没
in the
有
version
做
1.2
进
live stream?
1.2的直播里呢？
There are actually two different forms of content. 1.2 special program is hosted by Chibi characters. This program provides a chance for us to talk to our players face to face. Hell yeah, dude. And respond to their concerns. Yeah, I respect that. Game optimization takes time, and there is a delay between planning and implementation. We've just finished deciding on our plan. Oh, you just did. Yeah, and that is why we are here to update you all straight away. Besides, we think we can't just modify things without informing our players. We should admit our weaknesses and face our problems, but we are trying to explain our ideas on future optimizations. I fucking like this guy a lot. I do. He might be converting me into a ZZZ shield just because I really fucks with him heavy. Cool guy. Nah, I'd never be a ZZZ shield or a shield or any of these damn games, but I like this guy a lot. He's definitely gave me a bit of a bias towards him. That's also a characteristic. Well, we've discussed a lot of issues today. Some were related to the game, and some were related to other topics. I think we've covered a lot. And why I can tell from this program that your team is very serious about this. And this attitude is also a starting point for players to place their trust in you. So let's stay tuned to how ZZZ will implement these optimizations and provide everyone with a better experience. We'll show our response through our actions. And thanks to everyone for your feedback. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you to all the proxies for your love and support of ZZZ. See you next time. Bye. Hey man, W dev interview. Oh my God, bro. I really hate that I couldn't go live and enjoy that wholesome ass interview with the ZZZ devs with my chat, because I know my chat would have been spamming W's and great interview as well. I don't even think I need to do a recap. You guys can watch that. Yap, we're already over 1 hour of, you know me, I turn these damn 34-minute videos into hour videos or hour 30 videos. But that was great. I mean, dude, now we can ult with 3 different characters. That's going to be coming in 1.4. Fucking galactic change to the combat of ZZZ. I mean, they addressed everything. They addressed everything and then addressed more on top of it. It was literally the same amount of banger feelings that I felt when I watched the Woodwood live stream. I hope both of these companies, or I'm sorry, developers, I hope both of these developers for these games continue to triumph and ascend to higher levels. I hope they compete on the same level as Honkai Star Rail does in the gacha space right now. I think their developers are showing through their actions that they deserve to compete with the best of them. Thanks for watching, guys. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. This video is going up before I even go to bed. It's 2:26 a.m. And then tomorrow I have a nuclear fucking announcement for my plans coming very soon. All right, I'm out.